Who is the most evil woman of all time? Our HR director. Carla Homolka, she never faced justice either. Madame Delphine Lalaurie. Pearl Fernandez. Little Gabriel Hernandez's mom. The way she and her boyfriend treated that little boy guarantee a life in hell. There are more, but they've already been mentioned here. That one Nazi concentration camp guard who was legitimately sadistic and tortured numerous women before killing them. Myra Hindley. That infamous photo of her sends chills down my spine. Well, Lucy Letby is now a pretty good contender. Catherine de' Medicis, responsible for the St. Barthélemy slaughter, 10,000 to 30,000 Protestants killed in less than a week. Catherine the Great, aka the Red, has also a great murdering career to keep the power. Ilse Koch. Look her up. Wife to a Nazi death camp commander. End of discussion. Georgia Tann. Shirley Turner. Not that evil but still pretty disgusting. There's a documentary about the events called Dear Zachary. She shot her partner 5 times. Later found out she was pregnant with his kid. Spent little to no time in prison, and her now dead partner's parents gained custody of Zachary just for her to get out of jail and take the kid back, winning full custody even though she was found guilty of shooting her partner Zachary's dad 5 times. She later strapped Zachary to her chest, jumped into the ocean, drowning both of them in a murder-suicide. Jolene. Any mom on YouTube trying to monetize their kids. Look at the recent mom who finally had her kids taken away. Ghislaine Maxwell. Gertrude Baniszewski. That CNT who accused Emmett Till of whistling at her. Casey Anthony. There was this Chinese empress who used to kidnap her husband's mistresses when he tired of them and have their arms and legs amputated, then see how long she could keep them alive in clay pots living in their own excrement. She would have to be right up there, I think. No mention of Elizabeth Báthory. Gertrude Baniszewski? Ma Barker? Dagmar Overby? Klara Maurova? Darya Saltykova? Juana Barraza? Miyuki Ishikawa? Helen from accounting. IDK, you'd have to ask Jeff Lynne, he knows. Casey Anthony. How she doesn't get beat up when she shows her face in public is beyond me. Mama Fratelli. Either Imelda Marcos or Sarah Duterte. Myra Hindley. My mom, she made me eat a vegetable today and said she would take away my DS if I did not. Belle Guinness. Jeanette McCurdy's mum. Isabella of Spain expelled all Jews and launched the Inquisition. There's plenty of candidates. My top 2. Alexi T. Her legal team is accusing hospital staff of killing her baby. There's more to this story that sends a chill down my spine. Gypsy Rose's mom had Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Diane Downs. Good book, Too Small Sacrifices. Ilse Koch, aka the Witch of Buchenwald, is probably it. The wife of the camp commandant. That monster did things like have guards make everyday objects out of people's skin. Gertrude Baniszewski. Kyle's mom. There's even a song about it, you guys. Lucy Letby. Catherine Mary Knight. Amelia Dyer. Belle Guinness, slaughtered her entire family for a life insurance scam she ran. Dolores Umbridge. I'll go with Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. Rana Valona, the Mad Queen of Madagascar, is probably up there a bit. Me. Shirley Jane Turner. Look her up. May she rot. That bitch, Carol Baskin. Wu Zetian, who proved woman can be just as ruthless and brutal of an emperor as any man. A book was inspired about her. The first female empress of China. It's called Iron Widow. Big recommend if you like mechs versus kaiju. Obviously I don't think of her as evil, although she did some arguably evil things. Like most rulers in history. She just did not fuck around, and good for her. Ghislaine Maxwell. My mother-in-law is up there for sure. Ghislaine Maxwell. Jennifer and Sarah Hart. I don't know her name, but Elo wrote a song about her. In terms of damage done, there are some good names mentioned here. But I'm going with Leni Riefenstahl. She created the Nazi propaganda films that made an entire nation of Germans feel like they were the heroes, not just of the nation, but of destiny, and motivating them to go to war. Her personal feelings and intentions are immaterial at that point. Betsy DeVos, former Secretary of Education under Trump. Margaret Thatcher. That woman from the Evil Genius documentary. Diane Downs. She decided to kill her 3 children because she thought they were getting in the way of her love life. She shot them and then herself and drove very slowly to the hospital, blaming some strange man for the whole thing. One of her children was DOA. The other 2 were in critical care. She showed no emotion at all. When interviewed, she was constantly talking about how much pain she was in and her children were the lucky ones. There's way much more to the story. Anne Rule wrote a great book called Small Sacrifices, but she got life and the prosecutor adopted her surviving children who were left severely disabled. You can tell this sub has severely gone down in quality because the comments just list names with no explanation whatsoever. Whereas a few years ago you'd get a decent summary of the person in question. Coco Chanel. Every woman who has tortured and or murdered their children. Fuck them. Winnie Mandela. Didn't invent necklacing, but made it damn popular. Livia Soprano. Imelda Marcos, followed by Sarah Duterte. She's genuinely dangerous and unstable. Casey Anthony. Lucy Letby, etc. The innocent-looking one portrayed by the media, but they're pure evil. I read a story the other day about a woman known as the hyena of Auschwitz. She was a guard that was famous for her viciousness. She ended her life at the end of a rope. Ilse Koch, the bitch of Buchenwald, horrible guard at one of the concentration camps. I am torn between Casey Anthony and Susan Smith. Jezebel, King Ahab's wife. That old bitch who accused Emmett Till of whistling at her and the kid ended up being murdered. Casey Anthony. The way Hillary was bragging and laughing hysterically about how she played a part in invading Libya and killing Gaddafi felt pretty evil to me, given the human cost it took to achieve that. Libya, to this day, still hasn't recovered from the actions of America and the United Kingdom. It used to be a flourishing nation, and now it doesn't even have a government. The country has been set back many decades. Very sad situation. Gertrude Baniszewski. Let's ask Jeff Lynne. Gertrude Baniszewski. Do not look her up or the murder of Sylvia Likens unless you're mentally prepared for the horror of it. She was essentially tortured to death while staying there with her sister. Gertrude was meant to be caring for them while their parents were away working. She instead tortured Sylvia brutally, and Jenny to a much less extent, and encouraged her children, and the neighborhood kids, to do the same. Beulah Georgia Tan ran a black market baby business in the 1920s. Probably not the most evil but a dishonorable mention to serial killer and unlicensed medical professional Linda Hazard. You'd think the name would give her away, to be honest.